Hello guys, this is the Innocent Dev and welcome to my YouTube channel. And today I have nice things in store for you guys. We are going to be continuing talking about Argparse, and we are going to be talking about something even more interesting in Argparse, which is positional arguments. Positional arguments are arguments that you can or cannot pass into the program. Whether you do or you don't, it doesn't break the program, right? And as well, I'm going to be talking about why you would want to use optional arguments. So optional arguments are normally used in a sense that you want your program to behave according to the arguments that have been specified, right? So if something is specified, it can behave in a certain way. If something else is specified, it can behave in a certain way. If it's not specified, you can have a default way to just run your program as well. So just a recap from the last video, what we were talking about was using the Argparse module to collect arguments, and as well we did say that when you're collecting arguments, you specify them in the very same way you are expecting to receive them from the terminal, from left to right. So now what we are gonna talk about today is the arguments that you don't need to specify even positionally, but you can specify if you want to or if you don't want to. So to make this program much more understandable, I came up with a problem statement that we're going to use for this. So the problem statement is just a simple calculator function or whatever. So we're going to use something like a calculator function to determine whether this calculator will be dividing, multiplying, or adding or subtracting. So you would think that the user now would have to specify something like, I want to subtract these two numbers, I want to do something like this. So let's say we are going to get something that's going to receive something like two positional arguments, and then we want to have one optional argument, which is the argument that's going to specify whether or not we are multiplying. The practically is going to be specifying the kind of operation we're going to be applying to this thing, right? So what we can do for this is we can normally, when I write my programs and I use Argparse, I just write the template of what I would like to receive. So when I create the actual parser argument, I know what to look at and just refer to it so I can know what I'm currently passing, especially when you're using positional arguments, right? So I know what I will pass in the terminal is something like Python 3, and then the file name instead, which is going to be main.py. And then what I will pass as well for this one, I'm trying to get two numbers from the user, and I'm trying to apply the operation which will be specified at the third index of the Argparse, right? So I will try to operate with it with what will be specified. So I'll just pass in two numbers here to simplify this for myself. I'll just say 3 and 7, and then our operation would be something like add, right? Okay. So now as well, since we're using Argparse, we're gonna start by saying something like Argparse. Let's import Argparse, and then as well we're gonna create a parser object. So our parser object will be us calling the Argparse module, and then saying inside of the module we want to get the argument parser class, right? So our argument parser class, when we define it, we can also pass something that's a description as well, and this description will tell the user what this program is for. So I'll just say a calculator for now, and then I will just go forth again. So now we are starting to add the arguments, and then we know the first argument will be the first number, the second argument will be the second number. So what I will do with this is I will just say parser dot add argument, and then what I want to add is something like first underscore num, and then I will just say as well, since I want to receive this thing as a number and I know a number should be in a type of integer, I can also specify that the type of this will be integer, right? And then I will go again and say parser, because I'm expecting two numbers, I will add the second number. I'll say parser dot add argument, and then I want to specify as well the second number, right? And then as well I can specify the type for it, which is going to be integer as well, because these are the numbers that we're trying to add together or operate on together, right? So as well, what we can do is we can add the third argument, which is going to collect what the user is trying to what the user is now trying to operate with, right? The operation that the user would prefer to use in this case, right? So as I said, for the third one, we want it to be a positional argument, and our default for this program will be add, right? Meaning if the user does not specify this, we'll just add the numbers that the user gave us, right? So what I will say for this is I will say dash o, which is as well what I can say is dash dash operation, right? So me doing the dash o thing is allowing the user, instead of typing a full word operation and making it look cryptic in the terminal, I'm just making it dash o. If the user already knows how to use the program, they can just type dash o, or if they are new, they can just type the full name of what they're trying to do, which is dash dash operation, right? So now I will just say dash dash operation, and then as well with this operation, I know what I'm expecting is a word, for example add, and then what I will do with this, I will just say the type of what I'm expecting is a string, although obviously it will come as a string from the Argparse module, but I would just like to specify it myself, right? So as well we can add help tags in our things, so we're going to say first number, and then we are also going to say second number. Sorry, we have to start with help and then say second number, right? So we can also say type of operation, type of operation, yeah. So we have those things, right? So now I will just show you how this can help us go into that, right? So for now, what we can do, let's try printing out our arguments as they come from the terminal. So instead, before actually even printing them, I would like to collect them into actual variables. So what I will do with this parser object that I've created from the argument parser class, I will just say parser, right, is equals to I will just say my arguments that I'm collecting now, arguments are equals to the parser. Since I'm done with the parser and it's an object and I want to work with actual variables, I'll just say parser.parseargs, which is also nominated at the top here. I will just say parser.parseargs, and then what this does for us is it takes the arguments that have been created by the Argparse module, and then it converts them into a namespace object where we can access them individually with the names that we gave to them, right, as I said again in the last video. So now we pass the arguments, so we can start by actually just printing arguments instead. Oh, I had another print here at the bottom. Let me just go and remove that instead. Yeah, so I will just come here now and then run my program with what I said I'm expecting here, right? I'll just copy this instead, and then when I paste it, I can say unrecognized arguments add. So what's happening here is that, as I said, since this argument that we're going to be specifying at the third part of our arguments is optional, we have to specify its tag, right, its flag in a way, right? So the flags I've already specified myself here. So we've already been exposed to some flags already. The first flag we've been exposed to, I'll just do it now, is the -h, or instead we can say dash help, which is that flag that helps the user know what this program and how it's actually ran, right? So inside of the usage as well, you can see the flag that we have added as well is this one, is the operation, which you can specify with the -o, or you can specify as well with the -o, right? So what we will do for this is we will just say, when we are running our program, we'll just say instead, I want to add numbers 2 and 4, and then I want to add these numbers with the flag, right? So I know my flag will be -- operation. Let me just do it in full, -- operation, and then with that operation tag, what I can say is I want to add this time around. So now what I'm doing is just simply printing that out, and then it's saying now the first number is num2, the second number is num4, and the third number is the operation, which is add. So we know that we have something like this at operation, so we can now actually start working with it. So now I want to make instead 4 if statements that are going to check what's happening with the numbers, and then we're going to print the output. If the operation is add, we're just going to add. So now, as I said, since this is optional, I can check if there's no parameter named there. So the first thing I will do, I'll just say if not arguments dot, and then I want to access the operation, so I can say dot operation, right? And then I will just say, I will just add the 2 numbers. I will just print let me just use an F string here, sum is, and then what I will do here, I will just pass the 2 numbers, right, that I'm trying to add. The first number would be, let me just predefine them here so it doesn't look all cryptic in here. So I'll just say first num is going to be arguments dot first num, right, first num. And I'll do the same for the second number as well, of which I could just copy this instead and then paste it here, and then with VS Code I could just edit the first part here, right? So I can say now second number, right? So now I have them stored in variables. So what I can say here is I can say now I can say the sum is, and then I could add both of them, and I will just say first num plus second num, right? So now that's if the default is that, but I know as well now if the user instead also specifies that the operation that they're trying to do is add, it's going to be just the same thing. So to reduce some redundancy here, what I will do is I will say instead and what I will say as well arguments dot operation, and if arguments at operation is equals to now add. And what you can do as well in Python is specify like get our so what we can do as well is we can get our input. Let's say the users typed in uppercase or lowercase, we can just get it to dot lower so it can be comparable, right? So now I'm just getting it to dot lower so that if the user by mistakes types with a capital A at the beginning, of which is like basic grammar in English, so I want to also be able to receive it like that, right? So now I would have that. So this would handle it if it was for the sum operation, right? So now if I rerun this, since I only have sum currently, it should give me the sum is, and then something like that. So it is not giving me that. Oh, it's because I'm using an and here, so I'm just gonna say or, because I'm trying to get if there's no if the operation has not been specified, or if it has been specified but it has been specified as an add, then I want to add, right? So now if I rerun this, I will get that the sum is 6, right? So now we can also accommodate the rest of our arguments if they also appear. So I'll just copy this here so I can reuse it multiple times, and then I will say now if arguments dot operation is equals to subtract, right, subtract, and then what I will do with this is I will say now so since it's subtract, the difference that's what I should say, the difference is, and then I'll just pass first num minus second number, right? So now I can also go and do it for the others as well. So I'll just do this fast, divide, and then I will just say print the f string of the product. That's divide. What's divide? Okay, let me just say the division value is, I don't know why I just forgot that, value is, and then I will just pass it here, and I will say first num divided by second num, right? So as well I can say is if, and then I will just pass argument operation, and then I will just say multiply, and then now what I will do with this is I will print for the last time the f string of the product is, and then what I will pass here is first num multiply by second now, right? So this is just me trying to get like an explanation problem for why you would use something like this, right? Yeah, so now we have it like this, and what I'm saying here, just to recap, is that if there's no argument specified, or the argument specified is add, I wanna add either way, right? So, and if the operation is subtract, I want to subtract, and if the operation is divide, I want to divide, and if the operation is multiply, I'd like to divide, to multiply and then show the result, right? So now we have experimented with the sum. I can now go again and do something like multiply, right? And I will say they gives us the product, and what we pass is 2 and 4. So the product of 2 and 4 of course would be 8, and then now we can also do something like divide, of which is gonna give us something that's gonna be like a decimal format. Then it's gonna say the division value is 0.5, and then we can also pass, did I pass subtract? Okay, let's pass subtract, right? Then it's gonna do that. And as well, what I like with Argparse is that if the user now by mistake forgets the last value of what they're trying to type, let's say for example they were trying to type subtract, and then they say they forgot some words there, what Argparse will do for us is, oh okay, so yeah, so what we can do for this is we can check if any of those arguments are there, and then if any of those arguments are there, what I forgot to do now is print operation not found, or something like that, operation not found, which is also personalized by me now. So now if someone passes an operation that I cannot or do not know of, it will just say operation not found, right? So if I run this, it says operation not found, and then the user can go back now and see that okay, it's because I forgot the 2 words, the 2 letters there, and then it can now give them the difference of what they were looking for. So we have come to the end of this video, and that's what I was trying to talk about now. This is our optional arguments, and as I said as well, use optional arguments if you want your program to behave according to what has been provided, right? So if someone provides something else, you would want it to behave differently. And as well, this is not the extent of what you can do with Argparse. There's a lot more things, but what I think you can do as well is you can go to the Python website, Python documentation, and go and see what you can also do with Argparse and experiment with it. So what you can also do, you can add multiple more arguments in terms of optional arguments. You can have them placed in any way, because when you are specifying an optional argument, you can just specify it in any way you would like to specify it. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope you like and subscribe so you can see more videos from me in the future. And in the future, I'm going to start from the bottom, how to start with Python and all those other things, and I hope you will be there to see the journey with me. And thank you.